Hi everyone, this is Leo and Mich from poAcademy. We help people excel in their communication skills and life skills. Welcome to Learn English Through Story. Here you will learn how to speak English easily, quickly and confidently through listening and reading. Before we begin, please press that subscribe button and hit that bell icon too. And share your comments below. Let's start with our story. The Happy Prince. Retold by Mich, narrated by Mich and Leo. The Happy Prince. Once there was a statue in the middle of a city, and the people called it the Happy Prince. His body was covered with leaves of gold. His eyes and belt and dagger hold had the costliest rubies. One cold and windy night, a swallow wandered into the city. It was on its way flying south as winter had set in. All the other swallows had flown away, but this swallow was left behind. It saw the statue of the Happy Prince and decided to perch itself at the feet of the statue for the night. It decided to spend the night there and fly away the next day. While it was resting at the foot of the statue, a drop of water fell on the swallow's head. The swallow was surprised. It looked around and saw no rain, and then looked up. It could see that those drops were falling from the eyes of the statue. The swallow flew up to the statue's shoulder and asked the prince, "Why are you crying?" The prince replied, "I am crying because I am sad." Then the swallow asked the statue, "Why are you sad?" The statue told the swallow of a little house across the street and said, "My friend swallow, in that house there is a little child who is burning with fever. The family is very poor and they cannot afford medicines for the child. Can you do me a favor? Can you pull out the ruby from my dagger and take it to the family? With this ruby they can buy some medicines and save the child." The swallow did as he was instructed by the statue. The child's family was overjoyed on seeing the ruby. Instantly, they left with the child and the ruby to the hospital. It was already morning and it was time for the swallow to fly south. Just then, the statue asked the swallow for one more favor. The swallow obliged. The statue said, "There is a young man living in a small house. He is writing a novel and hasn't eaten for the past 3 days. I want you to pull a ruby out of my right eye and give it to that young man." The swallow was reluctant, but he did as he was told. The next day, the statue asked the swallow to help a girl who was crying because her fruits had fallen into the drain. She was to take the fruits to the market to sell. The statue said to the swallow, "Pull the ruby from my left eye and give it to the girl." The swallow refused by saying, "My friend, if I pull out the ruby from your left eye, then you will be blind. I cannot do this to you." For which the prince replied, "It doesn't matter. Please give the ruby to that girl. I cannot be happy if she is crying." The swallow was very sad, but still took the ruby out of the left eye of the statue and gave it to the girl. The girl was so happy with the ruby. The swallow then decided not to fly south. it decided to stay with the statue and tell him of the people they could help together. When the swallow noticed someone who was needy, he would pull out a gold leaf from the body of the prince and would give it to the person. Days passed, and it was the peak of winter. The swallow could not bear the cold and was dying. He then told the statue, "My friend, I cannot live any more and take care of you as I am dying." He kissed the prince on his forehead and died. The prince was extremely sad. The next day, the people saw that the statue of the prince looked ugly as all the gold and rubies were gone. The people removed the statue and burnt it for the metal, but the heart of the statue was made of lead and it did not melt. So they threw it in the garbage where the dead swallow lay. The next day, God asked his angels to bring him the two most valuable things from earth. The angels brought God the prince's heart and the dead swallow. God was very pleased and said, "People do not understand what true happiness nor what true friendship is. From today, the swallow and the prince shall live in my house forever." Question and answers. What was the statue's body covered with?
The statue's body was covered with gold leaves.
What was the statue's body covered with?
The statue's body was covered with gold leaves.
Where was the swallow flying to?
The swallow was flying south as winter had started.
Where was the swallow flying to?
The swallow was flying south as winter had started.
What did the people do to the statue at the end?
The people melted the statue for the metal and threw away its lead heart.
What did the people do to the statue at the end?
The people melted the statue for the metal and threw away its lead heart.
What did the people do to the statue at the end?
The people melted the statue for the metal and threw away its lead heart.
What did the angels bring to God?
The angels brought God the dead swallow and the lead heart of the prince.
What did the angels bring to God?
The angels brought God the dead swallow and the lead heart of the prince.
Thank you for watching and listening Learn English Through Story. We will be back with more content to build your communication skills. Share your comments and suggestions and let us know how we can improve. Have a wonderful time, stay safe, and see you soon.